capability to help her, and he wouldn't send a small army into the Sox if he and he could send a small army into the Sox if he wanted to. So he's definitely got the means, but I can't see how he'd have the motive. He actively prevented the Firewing's rescue back in 2012, after all. The same is true for Nebelher, so let's scratch both of them off the list. He flips a page, frowning. Well, that's good. There's a few streams that I fall asleep to myself. It's usually Dota, just because it's not because it's calming, it's just I've always got it on when I fall asleep, but I've heard that. I actually heard that when I was like a kid growing up. We were all like sitting around a table working on something, and one of the people sitting at the table is like, yeah, I could just fall asleep hearing the sound of your voice. So it's something I've heard quite a bit. We've got Aiden, the Great Sirish. He's operating out of Turkey. By all accounts, he's not a fan of Lofir. They're actively competing for territory in the Middle East. So I suppose that could be considered motive. Reviving the Fire Ring might cause great problems for the Golden Worm. But why would he? But would he risk a war with Seder Krupp by straying into Lofir's territory? Again, I don't think that's likely. He turns another page. Then there's Seladir out in Wales. He's pretty heavily invested in the Transys Neuronet, but he's got the money. But he's too busy dealing with the BTL killer scandal that Transys is going through out in London to get his claws dirty on the SOX. Flip. Dunzelkan out in the UCAS. How did you miss the dragon crashing into France, Germany in 2008? Media blackout. He pauses, shakes his head, then he slams the tome shut. No, this is a waste of time. The more I think about it, the more convinced I am. The Firewing is acting alone. Dragons don't cooperate unless they absolutely have to. After all, why bother making nice with your equals when you've got an entire planet full of pawns at your disposal? They don't need to work together. They have us to exploit. Winters leans forward and presses something off screen. The display goes black. A few seconds later, the main menu returns. Play track 3. While this track does load, it's clearly corrupted. The screen fills with a meaningless stream of text. I'm not reading that. The text disappears and you find yourself back on the menu screen. Play track 4. This file is partially garbled. You can recognize a few words here and there, but they're interspersed amidst a solid block of corrupted text. Volcaire, Firewing, still searching for a Firewing, still my big swear to new research, turning up, don't know, yeah. Play track 5. The file is corrupted, the screen fills with a meaningless assortment of ASCII characters. I think this is almost the exact same thing from the previous one. And play track 6. Screen goes black and the same digital time that you hear... the screen goes black and the same digital chime that you hear on the Dragonfall DVD plays again. A crackle of static fills the air, followed by the same, now familiar, electronic whine. A few minutes later, the display goes live. Volcaire looks haggard. His eyes are heavily bagged and bloodshot. His hair is mussed. He holds a cigarette in an unsteady hand. Hermy, it's me. I can't sleep. I don't know where you are. Out having fun, no doubt. Maybe flirting with one of those unattainable beauties that you're always chasing. He tries on a smile, but it quickly disappears. He takes a drag on his cigarette. It's good. I want you to live a pleasant, normal life. After all, one of us should. Volcaire rubs his eyes. I can still smell the smoke, Hermy. It's almost a year later, and I can still taste the stench of burning corpses. When I sleep, I can hear sirens and screams. There's no sound in this world as horrible as a burn victim's screams. The doctors would call this PTSD, I'm sure. They have me in therapy. Maybe dose me up on SSRIs like they do to our veteran soldiers. He chuckles and then takes another drag. Quite a story for the tabloids. The great dragon slayer, Adrian Volcaire, mentally incapable of wrestling with his own demons. He shakes his head. No. No therapy for me, and certainly no medication. I have a reputation to live up to, however poorly deserved it is, and however little I want it. He pauses and stubs out his cigarette. The dragon is alive, Hermy. Of that I'm certain. One day I will find her, and then perhaps I'll be able to sleep through the night. The display goes black and the background whine fades away. A moment later, you find yourself deposited back at the main menu screen. Eject the DVD. Power down the DVD player and step away. So I'll just quickly check in with the teammates. I don't think Amsel will have anything else to say to me. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Dietrich greets you with a very familiar wry smile. Minerva, what's new? I'm curious, Dietrich, why did you switch from fronting a band to running the Shadows? Honestly, working the stage was getting boring, boss. Spitting and screaming at the world was fine and good when I was a kid. It just didn't do it for me anymore. The Dragon Slayer wanted me to fight a real enemy, so I left the band behind and I turned to the Shadows. He shrugs. I don't know, I guess I figured that'd be the best way to find a new one. Or to find one. Considering current events, I'd say you're not wrong about that. Yeah, I guess not. Feels kind of daunting, truth be told, but it's exciting all the same. I've been looking for a worthy adversary for a while now. It's kind of satisfying having a white whale to chase. How long have you been searching for a real enemy? He shrugs. Not too long. Ever since I took down the last one. The last one? Of course, I might be able to sit around feeling pleased with myself if I followed the Creator or the Moon Maiden, but the Dragon Slayer ain't that kind of idol. If I'm not drinking, I'm fighting. If I'm not doing either of those things, I'm looking for a bigger, better fight to get into the next time. Dietrich produces a flask from his jacket pocket and raises it in salute. It's a remarkably simple code to live by. Who is the last one? Gang boss. Great big orcish bastard called the Wild Shrine. Little local chapter of the Horde. I had my sights set on him and his for a while. They'd hurt a lot of people, and I figured they'd pose a challenge. I wasn't wrong about that, but I took him out in the end. Dietrich, when does this pattern end? Well, boss, the way I figure it, it'll end when I pick a fight that I can't win. He smiles sadly. Might be this one. Maybe the next. Be hard to top a great dragon. But that's the way the Dragon Slayer wants it. And who am I to refuse him? Abruptly, he turns away. That's enough talk for today, boss. Besides, you got other things to do, I'm sure. Thanks, Dietrich. Iger. This isn't the best of times. Come back later if you want to talk. Okay, I think we'll probably get the same answer from Glory then. Got a job to prepare for, Minerva, and I don't have any more time to talk. Hit me up after the run if you like. But for now, I need some space. So this time I think I'm going to do the run... I'm going to do that special organization run that I got at the end of last night. Seems probably the best way to sort of fill everyone in with what I was doing the last time. So there's one about basically made an alliance between the Kreutz Bazaar and another neighborhood that was stealing goods from them. And here we sort of picked up a contact who was giving us sort of the... No, actually... Yeah, okay, no, well, let's do it. So Lucadur is supposed to be a contact who will give us some fairly high-paying work as long as I pass this test. So, travel to Frankfurter Tor to meet Lucadur's team. Trial run. As the U-Bahn hums towards Frankfurter Tor, you tug idly at the fabric of your maintenance uniform. You found it in a duffel bag on your seat when you boarded, along with a note from Dur to put it on before your arrival. The moment you step off this train, the note said, your trial run begins. You are to rendezvous with the rest of your team, reconnoiter the building, and plant the specified devices in Alshir's suite. Beyond that, your approach will be left up to you. Do not disappoint us. You are being watched. As you emerge from the dingy confines of the U-Bahn terminal and step into the light of day, you find yourself confronted by a wall of muscle in a knight-errant uniform. Knight-errant Grenadier, you're with maintenance. This isn't a question. He stands impassively, waiting for a response. No, I'm Shadowrunner here on a job. This is uniform is a clever disguise. Yes, sir. Have you seen any other maintenance guys around here? Yeah, they've been trickling in over the last 15 minutes or so. I've already done a security check on your entire crew. Everything checked out, so you're good to head on into the building whenever you want. Efficient operation you're running here. It's almost as if you were expecting me. We were. No one gets in or off that train without us knowing about it. Don't worry, all the correct paperwork has already been filed. You and your crew are good for the next 12 hours. It's good to know that you're so on top of things. We're knight errant, of course we're top on things. You get what you pay for, and the owners of this building paid for the best. Well, keep up the good work, man. He nods to you. Have a good one. The young dwarf looks up at you, wide-eyed with apprehension. From the way she's fidgeting, you can tell that she's terrified. She bites her lower lip, eyes darting side to side. Finally, she takes a step towards you. Hello. Are you Miss Minerva? I take it you're on my maintenance crew? Yeah, I am. My name is Jaina. She tries on a smile. It falls away almost immediately. Good to meet you, Jaina. Are the others still on their way? No. They sort of jumped the gun a little. They're already inside. Great. That's just great. The dwarf wrings her hands. I'm sorry, I told them to wait, but they wouldn't listen. They just muscled on past me and waltzed through the front door. Don't worry, it's going to be fine. Let's find the others and do what we came here to do. She takes a deep breath and nods. Yeah, okay. They'll still be on the first floor. Nobody's getting upstairs until I bypass the security locks on the elevator. That's why I decided to wait for you out here. I figured that they couldn't get too far ahead of us if I didn't go inside with them. Good thinking. Thanks. I just hope they don't screw things up in there. All I want to do is get this thing over with and get back home. Right there with you. Let's head inside. Yeah, okay, let's do it. Mid-level corporate compound, complete with living spaces in the upper levels. It's going to take a minute to look around. There's usually nothing here, but... As you step through the door, you find yourself confronted by a pair of men wearing the same kind of uniform that you are. Judging by their expressions, there is no love lost between the two. Hearing the door swing open, they turn to face you. The shorter of the two, a human with arcane symbols tastefully embossed onto his belt, glares at you. You're here, finally, and you've brought our little mouse of an electrician with you. Better late than never, but not much better. You're tardy enough as it is. He jerks his thumb at the elf standing beside it. I'll leave it to you to keep our pack mule in line. The elf's lips curl into a snarl. Hanging from his back is a bulging pack that looks incredibly heavy. His broad shoulders sag under the weight of whatever's inside. He's dumb as a post, but he can lift heavy things. Might not be bad in a fight either. At the very least, he can soak up a few bullets for the rest of us. Staring daggers at the mage, he spits out a long string of foreign words in a single susurrant breath. The sound of it is lovely, but his expression leaves little doubt that the message behind the words is an ugly one. Oh, and I hope that you can speak Seferial. He shakes his head in disgust. Damned useless immigrants. Do us a favor and keep your opinions to yourself. The corner of his mouth lifts into an ugly smirk. You may well be the leader of this team, but I'll speak my mind whenever I please. Get used to it. Oh, and by the way, I think you could have gotten here any later, pal. I've got an important meeting to get to, and if I'm late, the shit is going to hit the... This isn't going to get you to your meeting any faster. He flashes a hateful glance to the dwarf and then turns his attention back to you. No, it isn't. Let's get to the penthouse and plant the cameras. I'll mask them against detection, and we can all go our separate ways. The elf mutters something against his breath and hitches a bulky pack up higher on his back. His muscles bulge under the strain of it. That pack looks heavy. I can help you with it if you want. The elf blinks uncomprehendingly and takes a half step back. I told you, can't understand a word you're saying. Nothing came out of his mouth but that pigeon drivel that the elves call a language, in the Tiringine dialect, if I'm not mistaken. I wish he'd do us all a favor and go back, addressed the elf. Can you understand me at all? Musical tones of the elvish tongue poured out of his mouth again, but you can't make out a word. His dialect is quite foreign, unlike the form of Sephirial spoken by the elves of Tir and Nog. The elf falls silent. He looks just as flustered as a mage is. Just relax and concentrate on the job. Your words don't seem to have much impact. The elf's scowl deepens. Now that we're all together, let's discuss our approach. Anyone know what we're supposed to do to get into Alshir's penthouse? I do. If you can get me into the building access panel that's on the same circuit as the penthouse, I should be able to put a security system into maintenance mode. The job will take some creative rewiring. Well, that and whatever's in the pack the elf is carrying. Our employers gave me the schematics. And do you know where we'll find the access panel, Mouse? Quit calling me that. She takes a moment to calm herself. And yes, I do. There's an access panel on one of the mid-range apartments on the floor. My contact gave me the key code that should get us in. You've said should twice already. It makes me feel uneasy. Well, there's nothing I can do about that. It's the plan we were given, and we're stuck with it. Unless you have a better idea, we just have to follow our instructions and hope for the best. She turns to face you. Get me to the building access terminal on this floor, and I can rewire the elevator. That's the first thing we need to do. Once we're upstairs, we can use the code I was given and rewire Alshir's security system, and we hide the cameras in his apartment. Her brow furrows. Well, that's the theory, anyway. All right, then let's go. The well-dressed orc stops his pacing to stare at you as you approach. Heavy worry lines etch his forehead, and his eyes are bloodshot. He looks like he hasn't slept in a month. I don't want to be rude, but I'm a little busy right now. If this is about building maintenance, take it someplace else. James' cheeks flush red, and he takes a step forward. Watch it. You don't want to get me down... you don't want to talk down to me like... The orc bristles. Like a janitor? Yes, I do, because that's what you are. If you want to keep wearing that uniform, you better watch the attitude. Now, isn't there a floor that you should be cleaning or something? I've got a lot on my mind to worry about, important things. I don't want to be bothered. Didn't mean to bother you. I'll leave you alone. He scowls and continues to pace. A boutique food kiosk. The sign out front advertises a variety of locally sourced foodstuff, all of them terribly overpriced. Take a closer look at the food on offer. Glancing in the self-serve refrigerated section of the kiosk, you find a variety of sandwiches wrapped in slick plastic. You could eat for a week for the price of one of these things. Step away. Knight Errant Enforcer. The guard steps forward, interposing himself between you and the terminal. Your security clearance doesn't authorize you to be in here. We're doing a building-wide maintenance sweep of all major systems. Do you want us to take a look at your terminal? You know I can't do that. You don't have the appropriate clearance to touch this terminal, let alone service it. Besides, I've been running great since the other maintenance team worked on it last week. I'm surprised that you don't have that in your records. You know how it is with us in management. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. It's ridiculous. Story of my life. You have my sympathies. We'll be on our way then. Take it easy. Saleswoman's expression brightens at your approach. Welcome to Dunkley's Fine Clothiers. Are you shopping for a suit? A fashionable business suit made of ballistic cloth catches your eyes. It would be a simple matter to slide it under your baggy maintenance overalls. Let me see that suit. Ah, good choice. Style and safety. You have a good eye. She takes your arm. Here, let me show you to the dressing room. A tailored suit lends an air of quiet authority and class. I don't think I want to take it, though. I've already got my decking suit. Jaina studies the junction box for a moment, then turns to face you. See that guard in the hallway? He was standing next to a junction box like this one. Looks like they're both on the same circuit, too. So? So I could use this one to overload the one that the guard is standing by. She looks at the junction box again and nods. Yeah, I could feed a nice power spike into that one from here. You know, if you wanted me to. What would that do? Make a loud bang and an arc with enough voltage into that hallway to knock out a gang of trolls. I'd rather you didn't. We'll find another way past the guard. I'll leave it as an option, but I want to see if there's another way through. A well-groomed corporate couple stands in the corner, browsing racks of pamphlets about neural enhancement headwear. The woman's head turns at the sound of your approach. Upon seeing your uniform, her nose wrinkles. Oh, hello. Are we in your way? We wouldn't want to keep you from your work. Her spray-tanned husband chimes in. Right, the last thing we'd want to do is come between you people and whatever it is you do. Everything's fine, we're just doing routine maintenance checks. Ah, well, don't let us get in your way. You're not in the way at all. Say, what are you looking at here? This? She holds up a display model that they were inspecting so that you can see it. A small chip along with a glossy, attractive information sheet. It's a pediatric Skillware Plus system for our son. Our little Hans deserves the very best, and he'll need it if he's going to compete with his classmates at the academy. That means headwear from Augmentech. We may not be as rich as the other parents, but this at least is something we can do. This stuff isn't cheap. You must be very devoted parents. I'd like to think that we are, and no, it isn't cheap, but unfortunately these sorts of enhancements have become nearly mandatory at top-tier schools like the Academy. Our son's classmates come from affluent families. Even the least successful of Hans' peers has a pediatric encephalon, and it ranges on up from there. The Academy graves on a curve. If we were to send Hans into school without any enhancements, we'd be setting him up for failure. What about the kids that can't afford cyber surgery? The scholarship students, you mean? He pauses, considering. Well, I suppose that someone has to be at the bottom of the pile. Yes, but that someone won't be our Hans. It's an unfortunate situation, of course. He cocks his head apologetically. But then that's the world we live in, isn't it? Your world, maybe, not mine. Well, I suppose that I wouldn't expect you to understand. And now, if you don't mind, we'll get back to shopping for my son. Go push your broom somewhere else. The woman behind the counter smiles at you, her cheeks dimpling. Good afternoon, and welcome to Augmentech, the boutique that makes a better you out of you. Her voice is overflowing with forced cheerfulness. Idly, you wonder how many times she has to give that exact speech every day. Tell me how I can help you today. Might be in the market for some cyberware. Then you've come to the right place. She gestures at the terminal in front of you. Please feel free to browse our catalog. We have a huge stock of performance-enhancing augmentations to make you into the person you've always dreamed to be. Scanning over the tastefully designed catalog, you find most Augmentech stock consists of overpriced cosmetic cyberware, metabolic tweaks to help burn away cellulite, ruthenium polymer hair extensions, ultra-expensive leonization treatments aimed at wealthy septuagenarians. Toward the back of the catalog, you find some more practical chrome, nothing that a Shadowrunner would want. From designer replacement limbs to Nefaric screens for alcoholics, Augmentech carries the very best and fashionable implants for the ultra-rich. The mental enhancement section is a little more promising, but you don't even see anything that you couldn't already find in the Kreutz Bazaar. You're about to turn away when an ad on the last page grabs your attention. The newest iteration of the Encephalon system, complete with the integrated math SPU. The Encephalon Next, as it's called, is a bleeding-edge commercial-grade tech. Non-compete agreements prevent it from being sold at most stores. Non-compete agreements prevent it from being sold at most stores, but you found one that carries it. Hey, this headwear looks interesting. Mind if I take a look? She glances at the item on the screen. Looking at the new Encephalon, huh? Good choice. Our regional supervisor has one, and it is amazing. Totally worth the price. And what is the price? It doesn't say on the screen. We're doing a special right now. Yours for only 250 nuyen. That's actually really cheap. Okay, sign me up. That's wonderful. Good choice. Just swipe your cred stick and I'll print up your purchase order. Okay, where do I get this installed? Is your dock in the back or something? Her brow furrows. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm afraid that you don't understand. We're a boutique shop, not a cybersurgery clinic. We can sell you the device and have it sent to the clinic of your choice for installation, but we don't do the surgery here. Of course, your doctor will bill you separately for the installation, but this way you can ensure that most of the procedure is carried out wherever you're most comfortable. I don't know what this thing is. Say, not interested, thanks anyway. She waves at you. Another time then. Have a great day. The guard's stance shifts slightly as you approach. Can I help you? Yeah, could you open the door to the utility area? We have some work to do there. You can't read the guard's expression through his mirrored face mask, but his body language makes it clear he's just staring at you. The door is security coded, Delta grade. Your ID says that you're just Theta, so no, I can't open the door. You're not listening. We have work to do in there. I hear you loud and clear, Mop Jockey. Now you listen to me. Nobody without Delta clearance gets through this door. Period. I'd suggest that you talk to management. If you really do need to be in there, they'll upgrade your clearance. Otherwise, piss off. Sorry about that. We'll be on our way. Yeah, you do that. So I don't feel as bad about electrocuting him now. So, is it time to zap some guards? Do it. Picked up the Theta keycard. Wordlessly, Jaina pops an access panel at the base of the terminal and begins snipping wires. A few minutes later, she replaces the panel's cover and stands. Alright, that should do it. I've bypassed the security lock on the elevator. We're good to head upstairs. That was quick. I know my way around electrical systems. My father used to own rental properties all over Munich, and I used to help him maintain them. She smiles shyly. I've been rewiring buildings since I was a little girl. Touching. I don't know what this has to do with getting me to my meeting, but please, by all means, keep waltzing down memory lane. We'll wait. Are you ever not a dick? If you make me miss my meeting, you'll see exactly how much of a dick I can be. You're supposed to be our leader, so pull your head out your ass and lead us, preferably in an upstairs direction, so we can get this done before security catches us. Alright, I'm going to need you to get me to this floor's access panel. That'll be room 303 on this floor. The door combination is 14291. She glances up at you. Make sure to write that down. Which I'm doing right now. Yeah, I've got it. Okay, once I'm there, I can put the penthouse door in the maintenance mode. That'll set its key code combination to 11111. So that shouldn't have any trouble getting to... So that we shouldn't have any trouble getting in to plant the cameras. We've been making halfway decent time. Not good, but not terrible. But I can't afford any more delays. He cracks his knuckles. I hope no one gets in our way for their own sake. You aren't hurting anyone unless I order you to. You got that? The mage lips curls into a sneer. Yeah, I heard you. But if I weren't under instructions to follow your lead, this would be a very different conversation. Yeah, well you are, so shut up and deal with it. She shakes her head in disgust. God, I wish I didn't need you to finish the job. His lips curl into a sneer. Sadly for all of us, you do. And oh, by the way, we're going to have some words when this run is over, Mouse. A stream of caustic syllables pours out of the elf's mouth. His back is stooped under the weight of his pack, but his hands have been clenched into fists. He rolls his eyes and points a bony finger at the elf. Look, it's trying to speak. I want to get this over with, Minerva. I want to get away from these people and go home. I saw 301 and 302, but as a little... Okay, is this 303? Oh, interesting. Okay, I want to see if I can get to the other apartments then with my cyber deck. Trendily designed panel reads Apartment 301. A slick high-grade keypad has been mounted onto the door frame. Scan key or enter override code. Leave the panel alone. So apparently that is a unique room. Text that glows on the console's panel displays information security personnel only. In place of a keypad, the console sports a smooth Duraplast panel with a data port in its center. It would seem that the building management doesn't want laymen tampering with this machine. Cyberdeck and decking. Tether your cyberdeck to the input port and deck into the system. Still don't know what ESPs are, but... Okay. So usually we can just do a killer and a regular attack to take out one of these things. Oop, that was unexpected. Let's do... I think I'll just take care of the one, to be honest. And I'll do an erosion on him. That's a shame, actually. I would have hit him once more if I knew that was enough. Oh well. I'll do killer. I think just a couple of regular standard attacks should be enough to finish him off. So I think with the rest of this, I'll probably just heal up and see how many apartments I can build up. It's one of the reasons why I like decking characters. Okay, well, that's a few more than I was expecting, but let's do killer. Oh. I was definitely expecting to have more than one attack with that, so it's just as well that I healed. I'm not sure if my decking ability also improves my dodge here, but I definitely don't seem to be getting hit as much as I used to in this game. Not that I'm complaining. Okay, so I basically have everything that I need out of this level, it looks like. Just further than I intended. Okay, so we just stole 200 bucks off of some poor individual. I don't want to use this fire escape yet because the job's not done. Note, my beautiful Katya, I can't stop thinking about last Thursday after the evening teleconference. You and me sprawled out on my synth leather couch, you in your cardigan and nothing else, a bowl of strawberries and a bottle of Pinot, Bacchanalian decadence and hedonistic delight, a delicious evening for the both of us. I need to see you again. What we shared, what we must share again, I feel utterly consumed by my passion for you. I have sent you a calendar invite for a second romantic interlude. Please accept it at your earliest convenience. Karl-Heinz. The terminal is operational but locked. Decking it Forge admin access. Most of the files on this terminal are of a personal nature. In fact, one video file is of a very personal nature. The file, labeled Insurance, depicts a middle-aged woman engaged in vigorous sexual activity with a heavily tattooed elf some 20 years her junior. You recognize the woman as Gertrude Brunn, a very respectable and very married COO of Müller-Schulter Infotech. Brunn would be subjected to public humiliation and ridicule if this footage were ever to see the light of day. That said, the footage could prove a valuable piece of leverage to the right person. It'd probably fetch a fair price at an auction. Copy the file to my PDA. You copy the file, easy money. Alright, so we're in 303-14291. Code accepted. Welcome, homeowner. Moving the painting aside, you find a large maintenance access panel. Jaina steps forward, a slight frown on her face. Okay, I guess this is me. She pulls a multi-tool out of her belt and uses it to loosen the bolts that hold the panel in place. Pulling up a schematic on her PDA, she examines the terminal's wiring. Hurry up, woman, the clock is ticking. Don't rush me, this is complicated. Popping the lid on her toolbox, she grabs a pair of wire clippers, a soldering gun, and a roll of electrical tape. With a look of grim determination on her face, she begins to snip the massive harness of cables that run through the unit. All right, she taps the elf on the knee. I'm going to need that thing. Now. He nods and reaches back to unsling his pack. Placing it on the floor, he opens it up and pulls out a large blue canister. Takes all of his strength to wrestle it up from the ground into the space in the access panel that Jaina has created. There you go, you dumb ox. Do something useful for a change. The elf says nothing. Unburdened by the heavy pack, he stands up straight, and for the first time you appreciate how much larger he is than the corporate mage. He stares down at James, and his hands bunch into fists. Stay cool, man. We're almost done. If the elf understands you, he shows no sign of it. He continues to stare James down, and the mage continues to ignore him. Payload in place, Jaina goes back to work. It only takes a few minutes for her to screw, wire, and solder the canister into the harness. She inspects her work, nods, and turns to face you. She stands and brushes the hair out of her eyes. All right, job's done. We just need to do a bit of cleanup, and then we can get out of here. Nice job, Jaina. Yeah, thanks. It wasn't all that difficult, just a matter of following our employer's instructions. Hey, that's great, but time's a tickin', so let's keep moving. He glances at a jumble of wire and circuitry through the open access panel. To hell with cleanup. We'll be gone before anyone notices anything anyway. Just a second, what was that canister you put into the terminal? She shrugs. Beats me. For all I know, it could be full of pixie dust. They said you had to wire it into the wall at this junction, so I did. I'm not comfortable with how little we know about this run. The mage sneers. You haven't been doing this long, have you? The lodge doesn't tell you things that you don't need to know, and you don't ask. Your job is to do what they tell you, take the money, keep your mouth shut about it afterward. It's all very simple. The lodge? The mage's eyes widen incredulously. You don't even know who you're working for, do you? You're leading this team, and you don't have a clue. Jaina cuts in, her eyes wide. Both of you, shut up! Somebody's coming. A tall, deeply tanned man rounds the corner at a jog and comes bustling into the room. You recognize him as the father you spoke to at the Augmentent kiosk. He stops short when he sees your team, and the smile falls from his face. You, the lady from the cyberware kiosk, what the hell are you doing here? He advances on you, full of bluster and bravado. This is my apartment. I own it. You can't just waltz in here and start pulling the walls apart without my consent. We're maintenance. Look at the uniforms. Yeah, I see that. That doesn't give you the right to force your way into my home and start tearing up my walls. At the very least, you should have given me advance notice. James shoots you an irritated glance. This is a waste of time, and I'm already running late. If you don't take care of this idiot, I will. The elf barks something at James. The sound is uncharacteristically ugly, all harsh consonants and sibilant hisses. Let's keep calm, everyone. This is a simple misunderstanding. Misunderstanding my ass. Your friend just called me an idiot in my own home. He wheels on James, his hands balled into fists. I want to know your employee number, and I want to know it now. The mage raises an eyebrow, smiling. Do you now? I'm a member of the Homeowners Association for this level. You know what that means? I have a lot of pull with building management. He thrusts an outstretched finger at James. Your days of wearing that uniform are numbered. I promise you that. Calm down, sir. There must be a problem at dispatch. You should have received a work order last week. I didn't receive a thing from dispatch, or from anyone else for that matter. My wife and I are entertaining guests here in an hour and a half, and our living room is ruined. I need to know what you're going to do to fix this, and that you'll clean this place up, and that you'll put a new coat of wax on the floors. I need... The hell with this. I don't have time for this. His hands twist into claws, and he raises them high. An instant later, they are wreathed in an unnatural purple glow. James, stand down. We do not need to kill this man. The glow intensifies into a scintillating torrent of light. The energy lances and stabs out of James' hooked fingers as if it were alive. The man in the doorway recoils in alarm, and his palm slaps down on a plastic disc that has been clapped to his belt. Too late, you recognize the object. A panic button. The air fills with a cacophonous wail of screaming alarms. James jerks back, his concentration broken. From down the hall, you distantly hear the sound of heavy footsteps approaching at a run. Meanwhile, the homeowner backpedals, trying to put a wall between himself and James. He's moving too slowly, much too slowly. Everybody stand down. Your words are met with incomprehensible screech in your peripheral vision. You catch a flurry of motion. Your elvish companion is moving, making a beeline towards James. Jaina is hanging off of him, trying to slow him down, but he barely seems to notice. With a kick, he sends her tumbling to the ground and then reaches for his weapon. Stop, damn it! We need him alive to complete the run! With a kick, he sends her tumbling to the ground and then turns back towards James. Step between the elf and James. I hate the bastard too, but Jane is right. We need him. The elf comes short, staring at you. He sweeps his vision to you from Jaina to James. Before he exhales heavily and spits out a jumble in broken German. Killers. Innocence will not stand for. I will not slave. All lodgemen bastards. I kill all. I think I'm boned. Yeah, they pretty much wiped out my main character. Alright, I think that's a good enough place to end it. Alright. I think that's it for me tonight. I went a little bit later than I'd planned, as I seem to be doing a little bit more often. Yeah. Well, I mean, my main character was taken out, and I was facing knight-errant guards with those, with two of my weaker characters, and my main muscle in the other room. So, I actually want to see if there's a way to get to the penthouse without doing the traditional route. But I kind of wanted to see what the original mission would be. But I am done for tonight. I think I have kind of gone a little too late on a couple of these streams, so this seems a good enough place to finish up. I want to thank everybody for coming out again. We got to have Jesse Quill, who I know had stopped by the channel once before, but was so kind in hosting us. And then, of course, some old familiar faces, some new familiar faces, new follows. Thank you to everybody who followed. Thank you to everybody who is following, and just generally making this channel really fun to run. I like the fact that we've... you know, I love the fact that it's grown and it's been more fun to do the more people that are coming in. And I love the fact that you guys are, one, being so nice to the new people who are coming in, but also encouraging them to hit the follow button and that. There's one thing for me to ask that, but I think the fact that you guys do that voluntarily is a great thing too, and it certainly gives me confidence to move forward. As usual with my schedule, I try to do a Thursday stream. I do kind of list it as optional because I do need to make sure I stay on top of my schoolwork. Don't know if I'll be able to do Thursday. Definitely will be back for Friday though, so sometime later in the week we'll see you guys. We might either continue doing Crusader Kings, we might do some Dragonfall, or we might do a game that I've sort of set aside for a special stream. But until all of that, thanks again for watching. I hope you guys have a great night. I'll take a minute to see if there's anybody to host, and we'll get you again later on in the week. Have a good one, guys.